In 2017, Wonder Woman came out and it was a box office hit and it was very critically acclaimed. And many people called it the best DCEU film up to that point, likely because they misunderstood Zack Snyder's DCEU films. Patty Jenkins as director and Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman returned for the sequel called Wonder Woman 1984, which takes place more than 60 years after the first installment. In this film, they tackle themes such as greed and truth, and Wonder Woman battles Maxwell Lord, played by Pedro Pascal, who's a Trump substitute, and the ultimate villain Cheetah, played by Kristen Wiig, whose character is nothing more than a quirky nerd who envies Wonder Woman. There are a number of issues wrong with this film. One issue is their decision to bring back Steve Trevor, played by Chris Pine. It was a terrible idea, and it's such a cheap move and total fan service. His story from the previous film is diminished because of it. Also, the action sequences look awful. This scene in particular looks like something out of a Bollywood movie or something out of Looney Tunes. This just proves how incompetent Jenkins and her crew are. I mean, it's one of the worst action sequences in the entire DCEU. Everyone in the CGI team needs to be fired. Here's another quick shot. If you told me this was a scene from a Bollywood film, I would totally believe it. But anyway, here's one last clip. I mean, it's one thing that she can't even hold on to a lasso, but then it's even worse when you see that she's rolling on the dummy kid. I mean, this is supposed to be a $200 million budget, and you can spot that that kid isn't even real. It's a dummy. Another big problem with the film is that the villains are really shallow and lack depth. It's like a Saturday morning cartoon material, and one of them was even inspired by President Trump. I think this is probably the millionth film to complain about him since 2016. There are also a number of feminist moments in the film, and Jenkins isn't even subtle about it either, just like the whole Trump thing too. So we're stuck with a film that lectures to the audience, and instead of portraying a woman in a heroic way like we've seen in plenty of great films, Jenkins and company decide to just pander the women and treat the viewers like children. Regarding the themes of greed and honesty, like I've mentioned before, you'd find more complexity in Mr. Deeds. And it's obvious Jenkins lacks self-awareness too, because she's condemning consumerism, yet this film only exists because it's an easy cash grab. It's part of a never-ending franchise. But Jenkins knows her crowd. This explains why she turned this movie into a #MeToo film and regularly ridicules Reagan and Trump throughout the picture. And at one point, Wonder Woman even says, "I hate guns." The whole thing just seemed rushed and half-baked. The characters are shallow, the action sequences look terrible, there's too much fan service, the politics are too transparent, and it's filled with empty platitudes. It's a very childish movie, and if the MCU is for man-children, then I say Wonder Woman 1984 is for women-children. And if you're tired of consuming films without nuance and complexity, then check a film I reviewed called Deerskin. It's arguably the best film of the year, and it's a movie Wonder Woman fans will run away from.